Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? We are back today. Mark's Takes Sports Radio Show. Before I get into the show, I just want to say my internet today has been very subpar. Again, I'm living in a college apartment. The dorm Wi-Fi is not great, but we're gonna make do. Hopefully, it can stand for my 30-minute show. We're back. Took the week off last week. Still trying to get a time sorted out. I was doing Wednesdays at 12. However, I've kind of been bouncing off Thursdays, Wednesdays. It all depends. So school is ending soon. We have breaks, so we might just keep it at Wednesdays for now. But again, I wanted to do a show for Thanksgiving next week, so I said, all right, we're going to do it on Thursday. But yeah, so we're gonna get into some picks and plays again. Quick 30 minutes. I just want to talk gambling, want to talk sports, and talk Thursday night football tonight. Patriots Falcons. I do have an official play there that is not on my pods. I have 3 pods. We're rocking a 3-1 record. So 2 weeks ago we went 2-0. The week before that we went 1-1. So we are 3-1 right now. Doing great. I have 3 pods. I actually have 5 plays total, but those 3 pods up there are like the most confident. I would bet 3-4 units on these plays right here, and then I have 2 more plays that are not on there. So my first play we'll get into Grizzlies plus 1.5 tonight against the Clippers. Clippers have a loaded injury report tonight. One of the craziest injury reports I've seen. As a Clipper fan, I've watched them play in Memphis a lot. Something about, I don't know what it is. The team does have some history with Memphis. We used to play them back in the playoffs, like 2013, 2014, 2012. That was like the very early beginning of Lob City. Clippers have just never played super well in Memphis. Something about like the grit and grind. I don't know, but they always just destroy us in Memphis. And then with the injury report coming out, the latest injury report I saw was yesterday, but it was brutal. I mean, Clippers have the ability to have any team step up, they have the ability for any player to step up any given night. And, however, this injury report is just, it's not great. So, Terrence Mann, left ankle sprain, questionable. Nicholas Batum, doubtful. And then the usuals that are always out, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Jason Preston, Keon Johnson, Serge Ibaka, and Justice Winslow. That is a crazy injury report. And as a Clipper fan who's been watching them this season, a player like Batum out is just so horrible. He's been arguably the Clippers' second best player. So it's just, I don't see them being able to win this game. They have a hard time usually with a full loaded roster going into Memphis and winning a game. But with this roster, and they'll probably have 9 or 8 eligible players, it's going to be really tough to get a win against a Grizzlies team who they have no injury reports. They have no one on the injury report leading into today's game. So, yeah, it's just not looking good for the Clippers. Hopefully Terrence Mann plays. Again, you could easily get a good game from Reggie Jackson and Paul George, but I don't know if that's enough to put them over the edge of a Grizzlies team who's hungry for a win. So it's just, the line is currently Clippers -1. The total is 222. I'm rocking with the Grizzlies. I actually got this line this morning, or late. It was technically late last night. Grizzlies plus 1.5. It is now moved significantly to, not significantly, I think it's moved slightly to the Clippers. Oh no. See, it's actually flipped now. Now the Grizzlies are favored -1 against the Clippers. Clippers +1. So look at that. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm actually really happy now that I got the Grizzlies plus 1.5. But yeah, so I would still take the Grizzlies, though, -1 against the Clippers. I think they're going to win out no matter. I think they're going to win this game. Again, the Clippers really struggle with the Grizzlies. on the road. It's just big injury report. And I'm a Clipper fan, and I try to keep this non-biased on here, but that's just what I see going on tonight. Grizzlies are hungry for a win. So we'll see. I do like the Grizzlies. I also like the under 221. This is not on my pods, but again, Clippers have a very difficult time scoring in Memphis. Again, I don't know what it is. It's just like every team has those couple of arenas where you just like absolutely cannot score the ball, and it's like not even a mental thing. It's just every year you're like, oh, okay, we're playing in Memphis. Like this is going to be a long night. For the Clippers, it's kind of like that. I feel like it's like Memphis, Utah, Denver, Sacramento. Like you'd be like Sacramento sucks, but I feel like the Clippers have some difficulty, handling them sometimes. So yeah, I like the under 221. Looking at all the NBA, totals tonight, the Clippers Grizzlies game is the highest total, which I'm shocked by considering how many players the Clippers are missing. I guess, yeah, the Grizzlies can score a lot of points, but I see this game maybe being 105 to 100. Or it could just be a complete blowout. The Clippers don't score. It's like 80 to 100, 80 to 105, 85 to 105. I do not see this going into the 100, like 110, 111. I just do not see that happening. So I like the under. That's again not an official play on my pods, but I do have it written down. Clippers under 221. I also did tweet it on Gracie's Picks, which is um, my private Twitter where I tweet some VIP picks. I had St. John's last night +5. That was a winner. If you're not following that page, I highly recommend you do so because I tweet out winners every single day. So Grizzlies, Clippers under 221. Grizzlies. I mean, if you couldn't take, I would, I would still take Grizzlies -1. But when I made this pods, the Grizzlies were underdogs and they were +1. But I would still take Grizzlies -1. I would take the Grizzlies anyway, any which way possible. And yes, so let's get into my next play up there. Wake Forest +4.5 against Clemson. This is a big game for Clemson. They're turning their season around, but it's just it's too late. It's a little too late. They'll be in the Potato Bowl this year. Disappointing year for them, 100%. But this is like technically like this is their Super Bowl. Clemson this week. Wake Forest is a good team. They're coming off a good win last week against NC State. Clemson is also coming off a good win, but we cannot be fooled that Clemson is actually a good football team. Like they are not good, people. They've covered the spread now 3 consecutive weeks, I believe. And then prior to that, they hadn't covered yet. They were like 0-8 against the spread. Now I believe they were like 0-8 against the spread. Now I believe they're like 3-8 or something. So, yeah, we're having a bit of internet trouble, but I think it will be fine. So yeah, they were yet to cover. I think they've covered 3 consecutive weeks. Wake Forest is a 4.5-point underdog in Clemson. I don't care. The factor of it being in Clemson, I don't care. This game is at 9 in the morning. People are, usually I feel like it'd be a bigger deal if this was like an under the lights game in Clemson or an afternoon game. Nah, this is a 9 a.m. game. Home field advantage, I don't care in those 9 a.m. games. I really only factor that in if it's like a really late game, like under the lights. I love Wake Forest +4.5 against Clemson. We cannot convince ourselves that Clemson is a good football team. We just can't. They are not good this season. They let everybody down, and I have not faded them in a while now. Like I stopped betting them. The really horrible bad beat where they covered against Florida State. That's when I said I'm done. I'm done betting. But this is just like I'm like looking at this. I'm like this is just the biggest rat line ever because Wake Forest is a good team. They had a little problem with UNC. But everybody gets, a little oopsie where you're like, okay, like, that's fine. Like, you get one oopsie and then the rest of it, they're 9-1. Let's see their record against the spread. I would like to see all of the ACC football against the spread. Here we go. So the best teams against the spread right now are Oklahoma State, Pitt. I love Pitt. Pitt is America's team. They are America's team this year, and I've had so much fun watching them. Michigan 8-2, Syracuse 8-2. Shout out to Syracuse 8-2, covering the spread. That is fantastic. So let's check out Clemson. Let's see. Clemson is 2-8. So they were 0-8, I guess, and now they've covered for 2 weeks in a row. And then let's check out Wake. So Wake is 5-5 against the spread. They had an oopsie against UNC. Everybody gets an oopsie, okay? Everybody is allowed one game where you suck and you blow it. And they were on the road. Tough game for them. So everybody gets one oopsie. But Clemson has had too many of those where we can't convince ourselves that they're actually a good football team. They're going to lose this game outright. And Wake Forest is going to go in there and, stomp them into the ground. And then we're going to end. I mean, Clemson's season is already over, but now they're just, what bowl are they going to be in? Are they going to be in the Potato Bowl? Are they going to be, who knows? But their season ended. Now it's just all about, okay, who are they going to play in the bowl game? Wake Forest is going to go into Clemson this weekend and win. They're going to outright win. I would sprinkle the money line. This is one of my most confident bets. Wake Forest plus 4.5. Wake is definitely up there with one of those teams this year where I've had a really fun time watching. I think those teams would probably be like Pitt, Wake, Michigan. That's it, really. The rest of the teams I've not had the best time watching. Those are the big three that I've had a lot of fun watching. The rest of them I'm like, nah. But yeah, so that's what I'm taking. Wake plus 4.5 against Clemson. I would even sprinkle the money line. Sprinkle the goddamn money line. Wake plus 4.5. All right, so now let's get into my NFL pick. Cowboys plus 2.5. But before we get into that pick, let's talk about our amazing sponsor for the show today. So, MyBookie. There's no better website. There's no better place to be than MyBookie. So, from all the biggest games to the smallest events, every bet worth your while with MyBookie. Start by doubling your first deposit instantly with MyBookie's first deposit bonus. Double your money before you even place a bet, and all you have to do is sign up and deposit using my exclusive promo code MarksTakes at MyBookie. There are tons of great games and prop bets to take advantage of this week, but let me point you in the right direction for your first wager. This Sunday, two powerhouse offenses meet in Kansas City, where the Kansas City Chiefs are taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Dem boys have been on a tear this season while the Chiefs continue to struggle. Take the Cowboys to cover the spread so you can walk away with the bread at MyBookie. Don't wait any longer. Head to MyBookie today to redeem your double deposit bonus so you can get in the game and start winning big today. That is promo code MarksTakes to receive double your first deposit instantly in your account. No hassle, no wait. Bet anything, bet anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Boom. Use promo code MarksTakes. Go on MyBookie. There's no better site. I've been using MyBookie for years. There is no better site than MyBookie. All right, so now let's get into the Cowboys. So yeah, like I said, I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm taking Dem Boys plus 2.5. This is kind of similar to the Clemson situation where we cannot convince ourselves that the Chiefs are a good football team. People are like, oh, they're back. This team is not back. They beat, let's see. They didn't cover against the Giants. Okay, so they beat the Giants on Monday Night Football. Did not cover. They looked horrible. They played the Packers against Jordan Love. The Packers were horrible. Still didn't cover. They did not cover against the Packers. Last week, they go to Vegas. Yes, do they blow the Raiders out? Yeah, they do. But we need to look at where the Raiders are right now. They're going through some of the most difficult shit a team has ever had to gone through. I mean, first with, their coach, and then with with the idiot who was drunk driving. I think their least concern right now is football. I just don't think you can mentally recover from those two things. I don't care if these are grown professional athletes. Like, it takes a mental toll on everybody to go through that and represent a team. So for me, I don't even really count last week as the Chiefs being back, because the Raiders are just like, they are so down. Like, they're just never gonna come back. They're dead. Like, they're done for the season. I'm gonna stop betting them. I don't know if they're gonna win another game, but they lost to the Giants, and then they lost to the Chiefs, and I just cannot say that they're back. I don't think they're gonna make a return. It just mentally, it's too much. So I don't think the Chiefs' win last week was really convincing to me. Yes, they did cover the spread, but let's look at NFL teams' records against the spread. NFL teams' records against the spread. Here we go. I think the Chiefs are dead last. Oh no, sorry, they're 3-7 now. They're third worst behind the Washington football team and the Jets. So, the best, and who's one of the best teams at covering the spread this year? Dem Boys. The Cowboys are one of the best teams to cover the spread. They are covering. They are going to win this game outright. They're going to go into Kansas City and win this game outright. I just believe the Chiefs are not good. We cannot convince ourselves that the Chiefs are a good football team. And that's why I'm taking Dem Boys plus 2.5. I'm just a bit confused why the Cowboys aren't even favored, to win the game. I think the Cowboys should be favored to win the game. They should be the line, I think, should be flipped. I think the Cowboys should be 2.5 point favorites against the Chiefs. The Chiefs have shown me nothing this year. Their failure to cover the spread every week, they're dead to me. They were dead weeks ago. I honestly haven't bet them that much this year, but we cannot pretend like they're a solid football team because they stink. And these are my two least favorite teams in football. I hate the Cowboys. I hate their fans. I hate them as an organization. I tried to watch them on that show on Hard Knocks. They were still extremely unlikable to me. I was like, because usually I watch Hard Knocks and I'm like, okay, I love this team. Like, I'm going to root for them. No, I still, my feelings did not change towards them after watching them on Hard Knocks. Still hate them. I hate the Chiefs. If I had to choose between a team I hated more, I think I hate the Chiefs more. We all know Jackson Mahomes is my mortal enemy. The girlfriend is the most annoying person ever. I just hate the Chiefs. They're so annoying and they're not good. And people are like, "Oh, they're back. I'm like, they're not back. They absolutely stink. The Cowboys are going to win this game outright. I would take the money line. The money line, there's value there, but I'm just gonna take the spread plus 2.5. I think the Cowboys were a plus 120 money line when I last checked. But this is definitely to me something where the line should 150% be swapped. I'm like, this is something where the line should 100% be the other way. And I'm like, okay, there's a lot of rat lines this weekend. A lot of rat lines. But I like the Cowboys to win this game outright, cover the 2.5, whatever, whichever way you like it. If you like to live on the edge, take the money line. I'm taking the spread. A lot of great games this weekend in the NFL. So far, I only have my Cowboys Chiefs bet locked in. But there's some great games. I do like the Eagles this weekend -1.5 against the Saints. Eagles are the best average team I've ever seen. They're like starting to come together, and they're like an actually decent average team. Like they are the best subpar team I've ever seen. Um, I like the. I don't know. I still need to do a little bit more. I still need to study the lines a little bit. I don't want to give out plays that I'm not 100% confident in, but I am leaning towards taking the Eagles. With college football, my only official play right now is Wake +4.5. Again, I haven't had the time yet to really go in and study the lines, but part of me does like Minnesota. Minnesota -7.5 against Indiana. I believe Indiana is like the worst team against the spread. They are 2-8 against the spread. Indiana. I think Minnesota. I don't think is the best against the spread, but I think that they are They have to be. Minnesota's 5-4-1 against the spread, and basically if you bet against Indiana, it's like the most profitable bet in sports. I covered it in my blog last week on 12 Ounce Sports. I said just fade this team. I'm going to continue to fade Indiana basically until the end of the season. I mean, they only have this week and next week. They're not going to make the bowl game. So I'm going to take Minnesota -7.5 against Indiana. Minnesota is actually kind of a decent team this year. They're not the best, but honestly, if you've watched a IU football game, which I sadly have done multiple times this year, they reek. They are so bad. Like, they are atrocious. And anybody that has watched them, like, sending prayers. Minnesota is 6-4. They've had a decent season. Good for them. They kind of slid under the radar, but they definitely had a decent season. So good for them. But yeah, so I just fade Indiana really at like every possible thing. I just fade them, and you will. It's a little late now because we only have 2 weeks left, but you just got to get on those type of things earlier in the season where you're like, okay, Indiana's not covering, like they stink, time to fade, and we fade until they eventually cover, and they have not covered, I don't think. I think they covered 1 week against Maryland like 3 weeks ago, but they have not. They've covered 2 games. They're 2-8. They're 2-8 on the year. Just a pathetic season out of them. Truly a pathetic season. Yeah. So, but there's a lot of great college football games this weekend. Arkansas, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan State. Ohio State is a 19.5-point favorite. I'm going to stay away from that because last weekend I took Purdue +21 against Ohio State. Thought it was going to be the easiest bet of my entire life. It ended up being a complete nightmare. It was basically the opposite. And I'm just going to stay away from that big spread because like a part of me does want to take Michigan State +19. Like I think Michigan State's a decent team. But no, I'm not taking I ain't taking I ain't taking I ain't taking I ain't taking those big spreads anymore. They really fucked me over last week big time. And yeah, so I got to study the board. I have to study the board a little bit longer. Thursdays are usually my days to study the board, really get into college football. But tonight we do have some NFL. So we have Patriots Falcons tonight. I like the under 47 in this game, not taking the spread. Listen, the Falcons reek. They stink. The Falcons are so bad, and the Patriots. I like the Patriots. I'm officially a semi-Patriots fan in hopes that Dave comes to Los Angeles for the Super Bowl. If the Patriots are in the Super Bowl, like that's the only way he'll come to LA is if the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. So now I'm rooting for the Patriots to make it to the Super Bowl in hopes that Dave Portnoy can come to LA and go to SoFi and watch the game. Will Roger Goodell probably kick him out before he makes it? Yeah, 100%. But I want him to be in LA, so I'm rooting for the Patriots. I'm going to stay away from the spread. This is one of those games like last week where everyone thought, like, oh, Baltimore's going to cover. Oh, Baltimore's going to win outright. Baltimore's going to, smoke the Dolphins. And then the Dolphins came in and just smoked the Ravens. So it's one of those things where I'm going to stay away from the spread. But I do like the under 47. That just seems like way too many points. Rookie quarterback, prime time. I do like Mac Jones. I think I'm sold on Mac Jones being a solid quarterback, like offensive. It seems like he's got the offensive rookie of the year pretty much locked up, but that just seems like way too many points. Patriots defense is really solid. It seems like their defense is like finally starting to come together. And the Falcons reek. I mean, they are. I know they played the Cowboys last week, and the Cowboys are not great. I mean, the Cowboys are really, really good, and the Falcons stink, and they scored 3 points against the Cowboys. But I just think that's way, way too many points. So I'm taking the under 47. I don't know what it started off as, but I would take the under. Team totals: Patriots are 26.5. Falcons are 20.5. I kind of like the under for the Falcons team total. I could see them scoring literally like 17 points. 17, 14 points. I would say 17. They could even score 20 and you'd still hit the team total under. So yeah, I like the team total Falcons under 20.5. Yeah, I'm going to stay away from the Patriots team total team total 26.5. I don't know, because they blew out the Browns, scored 40 on them. I don't know, it's tough. You just never know with these national televised games, like what's going to happen. And so we'll see. But I'm taking the under. So my official plays for tonight are the Grizzlies plus 1.5 against the Clippers, and the under 221. 221 is just way too many points. That's the highest over under tonight in the NBA, and the Clippers are going to have 8 players, and they always play pretty poorly in Memphis. So I'm taking the under 221, Grizzlies Clippers, and then I have Wake Forest this weekend plus 4.5 against Clemson. We cannot pretend anymore that Clemson again is a good football team. They stink, and who have they beaten? They stink. They are so bad against the spread. Wake just seems like free money. It's kind of a rat line. It is a true rat line. But Clemson 2-8 against the spread. They're down there with Indiana. They are both 2-8. Both these teams are 2-8 against the spread. If you've been fading these teams the entire season, free money. Absolutely free money in the bank. But yeah, so I'm taking Wake plus 4.5, taking Minnesota plus 7.5 against Indiana, and then I'm just writing these down so I can really get them locked into my. I'm taking Minnesota minus 7.5 against IU. I'm writing these down so I can really get them locked in on my book after this. Minnesota, fade Indiana. This is like the prime weekend. Fade Indiana, fade Clemson. Wake plus 4.5. Then I'm taking the Cowboys plus 2.5 against the Chiefs. The Cowboys are going to win outright, okay? Just hear me now. The Cowboys are going to win this game outright, but, I'm not feeling super dangerous, so I'm going to take the spread. But if you're feeling dangerous, take the money line. Cowboys are going to win this game. They're going to go into Kansas City. They're going to win this game. The Chiefs are not good. The Chiefs are not a good football team. They're definitely not back. And I would also take over 5 TikToks from Jackson Mahomes. He's going to be TikToking it up. Over 5 TikToks from Jackson Mahomes. And yeah, then I'm leaning towards taking the Eagles minus 1.5 against the Saints. And then tonight for Thursday Night Football, the under 47, staying away from the spread. Falcons stink. Patriots defense is solid, but again, they still do have a rookie quarterback, prime time. You never know what will happen. So I am taking the under 47. I feel like that's just way too high. Usually when it's around 47 to 50, just find it way too high, especially with a rookie quarterback and a team that stinks. Under 47. tonight, and those are my plays. So let's have a weekend. Let's have a day tonight. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Gracie Marks. I'm tweeting out my plays on there, and I'm also on Instagram at Marks Takes. Great show. We will most likely be back next week, depending on Thanksgiving. I'm around. I want to do a show for next Wednesday, not Thursday, because that's Thanksgiving. But next Wednesday we'll most likely be back. We got to talk NFL for Thanksgiving, even though it's kind of a weird slate. But yeah, so shout out 12 Ounce Sports for sponsoring the show. Shout out to my bookie for sponsoring the show. It's been real. It's been fun.